Hi there, it's Lori from Lollipop Paper and Ink. Thanks so much for joining me today for just a quick video on a few projects that I did, starting with a super simple project using the same stamp set and bundle, and then proceeding, just adding a few little techniques to make it really stepped up. So we have 3 projects to show you today. I'm going to be using the Words of Cheer bundle, and the reason I chose this stamp set was because it is a nice, simple stamp set. It has nice images, it has nice, crisp sentiments, but it also can be really jacked up a little with these great dies. So the dies are called the Christmas Cheer dies. And you get, how many do you get? You get 12 dies, and it has these great word dies here, cheer, happy. And this one here, this is like a stepped up in itself with this die. I'll show you how we're going to work with that in just a sec. But just this happy die can be used for birthdays, holidays, anything. So I'm going to show you how we used some of those today. So what I'm going to do is start off with this really super simple image, and we're going to use this, and we're just going to add, it's just paper, stamps, and ink, and then we will have our first project done, and then we can move on and step it up from there. Okay, so let's start with this really simple project first. I just have a card base, 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. And then I have my layering cardstock here, which is just basic white, and this is just 5 1/4 by 4. So I have my base already trimmed and ready to go. Let's just give it a little burnish, make sure this is a nice crisp line. Now for the image, I am going to use my Stamparatus today because it is a large image that we're dealing with, and why take the chance that it's not going to have the perfect coverage right up front. So I'm taking the Stamparatus out. I center it where I will remember. I usually use those same measurements. I just fit it into the corner here. And I want to put my, which way do I want it to go? Here. I'm going to move it over to the side just a bit so that I have room for my sentiment. And pull that up. And with the photopolymer, it does tend to grab it. So that's why I know I'm always going to be within these darker lines right here. So I'm taking some Memento black, and I'm going to just ink up the image. When I'm using my Stamparatus, I always put a stamp set, whatever, whichever one I have laying there. And this way it gives it a more of a balanced surface, and it's not popping up and down. And even if it did, we'd be able to redo it. So that looks pretty nice, pretty clean. So I don't have to redo it, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. So let's use this. I'm going to wipe this off just a smidge here because I do want to use that again. All right, we'll put this out of the way. And we're just going to add a few of these little colorful stamps that are in the stamp set here. So this one I'm taking off, and it's just the solid image. I have it already on a block, and I'm going to use my So Saffron. That is my go-to yellow, and Granny Apple Green, just to give it a little pop of color. So let's just do this here. It's just a very simple solid block that I can add. It's not exact. I'm just kind of aiming for the center. And done with that, I have the green, Granny Apple Green. I'm just going to do these 2 little leaves that are peeking out here. And again, it's not going to be a perfect fit into that image, but it just adds a little bit of color. And that's what we're looking for. So let's add a little sentiment. This sentiment is from the set. We're going to use Sending You Christmas Cheer. And let's bring this here. And that's why I moved it over to the left a little bit, just so I have a little spot here for my sentiment. There you go. Okay, let's layer this up. And we'll have our first super simple, just ink and paper and a stamp, and you're good to go. Okay, our first card is done. Super simple. That's how we're going to start out. And I do have a few extras that I want to show you at the end of the video. So hang with me. So I'm going to bring the stamp apparatus back out for our next project, and I'm just adding a little bit of a technique to this one, and just the smallest little technique could make a big difference. So what I'm going to do here is, this is the card, the stepped up, one step up, and I just used a little bit of watercoloring. Like, it wasn't even watercoloring, it was just with a little spritz. So what I did first was, just so that I ran this through the Big Boss right before the video, to save time, because we are going to be using the Mini Boss, but I couldn't fit this one in here. So just to save time, I used this die right here, just to give it a little interest to the bottom of the card. That's it. It's still super simple. All right, so we're going to use this one, and this time I'm going to put this back into the same spot where I had it before, and I'm going to ink up my image, and this one will be, it'll be right exactly where I want it from last time. So I'm going to be using my Evening Evergreen ink, and I'm stamping it up, loading the ink right there. Now what I'm going to do now, and this is just the little quick technique, is I'm going to take one of my Stampin' Spritzers, and let me just make sure nothing else gets wet here. And this excuse me, this comes in a pack of 2. And you can fill it with water like I did here. You could fill it with one of your re-inkers and spray actual ink color onto a project. You could add glitter to it. It's really has so many uses. So again, it's going to depend on how much of the watercolor you want to show. So I don't want to make it too close, and I don't want to put too much water on there. I just wanted a very subtle effect. So I'm just going to hold it up higher, give it just a little, 3 little sprays, 3 little shots of water. And then I'm going to ink it and stamp it right here. Okay. And then we're going to work on the sentiment just to give this just a little bit of time to dry. See how subtle that is? But it just adds a little bit of interest because the watercolor is settling. Now you could use just the regular, I would think the thick basic white or very vanilla. I used the actual our watercolor paper, which is called Fluid 100 watercolor paper. And it just allows for the ink to settle in, and it really captures the image so much nicer using that. So, all right, we're just gonna give that 1 second to dry. And I have a little, just a little tag that I had trimmed from the same watercolor paper, because I felt that the basic white would be too bright and the very vanilla would be too creamy. So I wanted it to match pretty evenly here. So I'm going to take my Evening Evergreen back out, and I'm taking this sentiment here, wishing you a joyful Christmas, and I'm just going to stamp this little tag right here. And I will have all of these measurements on my blog by the time this gets uploaded to YouTube. So you can check back on the blog for anything that you missed. All right, so this is pretty dry by now. So what we're gonna do is just add a little bit of the ribbon, to find my ribbon, my evening evergreen ribbon. And I want to just highlight this lower border here, which I can do just simply by highlighting it by adding a little piece of ribbon to go right around it. Okay, and let's get that on there. All the while, we're still waiting for it to dry, but you can see it is drying pretty quickly. I think it would be good to go right now if we put it on there. Okay, I ran out of my seal right there, so I have to replace. Just took a little moment to get that out. Now let's just make sure we're straight. It's nice and easy to do that because we're highlighting just right around that border of circles. So let's put this on, right onto the card base. Okay, now let's add just a little bit of a bow on this side. And let me see, which way do I want to put? I think I'm going to put that there on that side. So I'm going to put my bow on this side. Okay, let's make this just a little smaller, more appropriate for that size and that corner. And here I can put in some dimensionals, and we are almost ready to be done with this second project with just a little bit of a technique to add a little bit of interest to the card. I'm going to add some of my evening evergreen jewels. Let's see if I have any extras open. Oh yeah, I have a few. Okay, so let's just add a few to the card front. And one to the tag. Okay. There we go. There is our second stepped up card. Super simple to one step up. And then let's get on to our third card. And this one is just a little bit more intricate, a little bit more jazzy and glittery. But what I did with this one is I brought out my bedazzling paper. So that alone is enough to really make anything shine. So this is my totally stepped up project that we're going to do right now. Here I just took I have my basic white, the thick. I usually use the thick for my my bases. And this piece is 5 by 3 3/4. I already embossed it with the painted texture embossing folder. And I'm just going to put that on here just to make for a nice little background. Okay, so what I am going to do, I'm going to take 2 of these happy dies. The one is the background. That's the one we're going to send through with the bedazzling paper. And this is just the regular happy word. Now, I also wanted to have a few little leaves popping up from the sentiment tag. So I'm going to take this one too. And I'm going to send these through mini. Now, I don't want the camera to shake too bad, so let me see if this will work okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the happy and the leaf die right here together on one scrap. And let's just send that through. Okay, there we go. That pops right out beautifully. And I have 3 of my little leaf accent pieces that I want to add on to the sentiment tag. Okay, I'm going to need this again. And this time I'm going to put that aside, but this time I'm going to take a scrap of the bedazzling paper, and I'm going to run the snazzed up happy into that one. And let's see how that comes out. I have to run this through a few times because the bedazzling is so so thick. Okay, 3 times usually is the charm for this one. The other ones pop right out, but like I said, this bedazzling paper has a backing to it, which is pretty thick. All right, just pop that out, and we have that ready to go. All right, so let's take our 2 happy words, and we're just going to adhere them. And you could use liquid glue. That probably would have been better, but you're not going to see the glue popping out from the back anyway because of all the sparkle happening. Okay. There we go. See how that pops out? That's enough bling for anybody. Okay, so let's get back to our card base. I just did an inch strip, 1 inch by 5, and I put that, I'm going to put that onto the bottom, just so that it highlights the happy, the snazzed up happy that's up on top. Just give it a little gold accent piece. Okay. Now, the sentiment I did already, if I can find it, I cropped out and I heat embossed this sentiment. Okay, so it is right here, hiding. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just take those little 3 leaves that I cropped out earlier, and I'm just going to add them to the back of this sentiment tag because I'm going to pop them up with a dimensional. So, and I'll add another dimensional there also, just to make sure that we are nice and secure. Oh. Okay, that one got a little stuck. And this is just going to go there. And this way, these little leaves here pop up off of that little piece of the bedazzling. So this one I can just put right on with my mini baby dimensionals. And it's bulky enough. The letters are big enough and bold enough and wide enough where they'll fit on there perfectly. Okay, and we can put this there. And this card is perfect for Christmas, New Year's, anything that makes you happy and makes you excited to see glitter. So I'm just going to add a few of my metallic pearls to this project here. I want to highlight those. I apologize. I don't know what happened. I just lost internet there and everything shut down. So, not sure where we left off, but I think I was just adding the finishing touches, which are these gold metallic pearls, to just bring out the gold here in this stepped up card. Okay, so there we go. We have super simple that we started with, just paper, ink, and stamp. And then we just added a little bit of technique by doing a little spritz of water to make it more a little bit of a watercolor effect. And then we went all out and we used the fancy dancy paper, we used the heat embossing, we used the die cuts, the double die cuts that work beautifully together. So those are our three stepped up projects. Let me just show you two that I had made when I was playing with this set. And this one here, this is still another very simple, just cut out just the simple word part. Use this sentiment from the set. And this sentiment actually says happy wishes to you and yours. So I already had the happy, so I just cut that off. And I thought that came out really nice. And it was super simple, pale papaya. Just used a little bit of my blends markers on there. And on this one, it is done with the cherry cobbler background, cherry cobbler, and the petal pink. And just a little bit of my markers, my blends, and I used this large, after I stamped that big floral image, I used this die to crop it out. And again, super simple. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed my stepped up video today, and this Words of Cheer stamp set and Christmas cheer dies are really fantastic to have on hand for all year long. All right, thanks again. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss my next video. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.